Welcome back to Luxury Cruising. I'm your host, Krystal, and I'm really excited to have Megan here with us today. Megan is going to tell us about her experience on Explora Journeys. Megan, please tell the audience anything you would like them to know about you.
Thanks so much, Crystal. Hello, audience. I am Megan. As she said, I live in Tampa, Florida, and I am a project manager by trade. But Crystal reached out to me because I posted on TikTok about my experience on Explora Journeys. So I've cruised before. As a child, we did a few Royal Caribbeans, and I've been on Norwegian. I also did a Uniworld River cruise with my family in the summer of 2017. But my husband and I just returned from Explora Journeys on our honeymoon. So, like many people, we did not want to spend a ton of money on a wedding, but we wanted to do something very memorable and a once in a lifetime experience. So, we took money that would be spent on a wedding and put it into an Explora Journey cruise. And I can say it was definitely worth the money. We were constantly talking to each other about how this 12-day luxurious escape is 10 times better than a 1 day event. I'm very excited to talk about my experience and happy to be here.
Oh, that's amazing. Absolutely. As people say, you don't get married. And yes, trading 12 days for basically like a 5-hour party, I think for a lot of people, that's a good trade.
Indeed.
Awesome. Well, tell us what went into the decision about the line, the ship? Walk us through that process.
We knew we wanted an epic honeymoon if we were doing this trade off. And we've traveled a bunch in both of our lives. I have backpacked in the past and I've also done luxury travel, and I know how it can be. And if we're trying to see a bunch of different destinations by plane, hotel, it's very strenuous. So we knew we wanted to do a cruise for that reason. The ability to kick your feet up at the end of seeing an amazing location. We started researching different luxury lines, and we stumbled upon Explore Journeys just through YouTube, TikTok, the internet, Reddit. And it's a newer line, but through our selection process, just looking at the different ships, what people had to say about it, we're younger, so we're in our early to mid 30s. We felt like the vibe of Explora was more our speed. It had that modern, younger feel to it while
Yeah.
still having that luxury clientele.
That is definitely the same vibe and impression that I've got on all of the content, including yours, that I've gotten from Explore Journeys. It is newer. It is MSC's luxury line within the MSC Global Corporation. And it has quickly risen to the top of my list in terms of luxury lines to try because it just looks gorgeous.
It was truly incredible. I can't even think of a bad thing to say about any of our experience. I made a TikTok. I don't know if you saw it, but the one complaint I had is that they were too concerned about our level of service. Like they wouldn't let me get my own water. And I don't need someone waiting on my hand and foot. So I was like, guys, I got it. Don't worry about me. But yeah, it was another level of luxury.
Yeah, amazing. So tell us, how was the decor of the ship?
That was another thing that really struck us. So that when you walk in, that lobby bar is just so grand and it has the big chandelier, and the decor definitely had that modern feel to it. And one thing we loved was the chairs, the comfort. We were saying that we want to figure out who curated the ship and bought all the furniture, because when you would sit in it, it had really great back support. So the decor everywhere just felt really modern, luxury, like a five-star hotel, and very comfortable.
Amazing. It's those small things, right? Because if you're sitting in the chair and you're reading, you're having a drink, and it's not comfortable, then you don't want to be there.
Right. And just even the chairs on the pool deck or the cafe, you really felt like you could sit there and relax for hours.
That's fantastic. What kind of room did you get, and what did that look like?
So we got their basic room. Every single room on the ship comes with a balcony, and they call it an ocean terrace suite. So we just had their base level ocean terrace suite, but even that was incredibly nice. The bathroom was very spacious. So normally on cruises, I feel like you're kind of like this
Yeah.
in the shower. You had plenty of space to spread out. As a woman, I'm sure you can relate. You had an area to put your leg up if you want to shave your legs. They
Mhm.
even had that.
Yeah.
And there was a Dyson hair dryer in the
Oh,
stateroom as
very
well.
nice. Yes.
Lots and lots of drawers. So many drawers throughout the cabin that made it easy to put all your stuff away so you didn't feel like you were walking all over your
Hmm.
things. And then a separate little living area with a couch, the mini bar, the fridge, and then that balcony, like I mentioned. So, perfect amount of space. Maybe one day I'll get a penthouse, but for our budget and our needs, it did the
Yeah.
job.
Yeah, I mean, I think that also the entry level suites for Explore Journeys, from what I can tell, is they are reasonably priced. You know, yes, it's gonna be more than getting a balcony on a contemporary cruise line, but it's still not gonna be like 5 times or 10 times the cost.
Yeah, I felt for what we paid, it was totally worth it. And I think that if you are interested in an Explore journey, it just depends on where and when you want to go. So our journey was a lot longer, but they do have shorter stints for like 4 or 5 nights that I think are totally reasonable and you could still get to experience it for yourself.
Yeah. Did any, amenities come with the room?
What do you mean by amenities?
So, was there Wi-Fi included, drink package, concierge service, anything like that?
So with the standard fare package, Wi-Fi was included for everybody on the ship. Alcohol was included everywhere you went. That was full service bar, cocktails. When we first got on the board, we had to fill out what kind of spirits we wanted stocked in our fridge on a routine basis and wine as well. And my husband would like to drink some of the Heinekens. And when we went back to the room, it was always restocked. And we also had our own personal suite host. So he was like a concierge. He was our man in charge if we needed something. His name was Jomel. He was very sweet. And we could also call guest services if we needed something, but we did have that one person. Just one time I was like, hey, can we get more of these pillows or well, things like
Yeah,
that?
yeah, and that was separate from your stateroom attendant who would come in and make the bed and clean up, right?
He was the same person.
Okay. So,
Yes.
and what was it called? Suite
They
attendant?
called it your sweet host.
Suite host. Okay. And so, wow, they must have really worked hard. They both cleaned up the room and also just took care of all of your other needs.
Yes, I think what the Explorer does there is they have an individual that you know by name, but if you need something, they have a team of guest service people that are on it. Because I had to call for something separate and someone else came to help.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Awesome. So, let's leave the room and get some food. Tell us about the food and the different types of restaurants.
so Explora Journeys has 6 restaurants on board, and I believe 5 of them are completely included in your fare. So those were a Mediterranean type dining area that was like fine dining with a waiter. And then there was a French restaurant as well. And that was also for full service where they had a waiter come over and would serve you with the drinks and the food. Then another table side dinner was the restaurant that was Pan Asian. It was Sakura. And then there was a steakhouse on board. So all of that is no additional upcharge. And just got to make sure you have your reservations in and you can go to one
Hmm.
of those. So we made sure to try every single one.
Yeah.
Then there's the Emporium Marketplace. So that is what most cruisers would know as the cafeteria, the buffet type. And every single night they had a completely different set of cuisine. They always had a raw fish bar, so all you can eat
Nice.
oysters,
Nice.
the crab legs, anything like that. They would serve you, so you wouldn't serve yourself in that. And you would just tell them what
Hmm.
you want on your plate, which I think helps with the transmission of any germs and things like
Yeah.
that. And another one that was an upcharge is a restaurant called Anthology. And we did not do that. That is a tasting, like a 7 course tasting
Yeah.
menu. We didn't do it because we felt like we were already eating so much. We were going to put our money and our time somewhere else, but I'm
Yeah.
sure it was amazing. So, to answer your question about how it was, we both gained a lot of weight on that ship. I really regret bringing jeans because I couldn't wear them. I had to rewear my pants, that
Stretchy
flowy
pants.
trousers. Yes.
Yeah.
And my favorite food was by far at Sakura. We went there 2 times, and both times I ordered the same thing because if I try something once and I love it, I can't
Yeah.
look away. It was this curry, coconut, beef, melt in your
Mhm.
mouth dish, and zero complaints about the food as well.
Awesome. Was there a main dining room or was it you just chose from one of the specialty restaurants each night?
You chose from the specialty restaurants each night. So no, I know a lot of cruises do have that main dining room that you go to, but it was the specialty dining or the Emporium Marketplace.
Yeah, got it. That Emporium Marketplace, I don't know, but, like, I'm getting pictures of just a bunch of different food stalls. Was it like that, or was it, like, more of a traditional cruise buffet?
It was a bunch of different food stalls based on the region or type of cuisine. So there was always, every single dinner, there was a made to order pasta station. Then there was like a Asian stir fry station. Then in the middle, they had that rotating type of thing where it could be
Mhm.
any dish, pick your dealer's
Yeah,
choice. Some nights it'd be curry, other nights it'd be a roasted chicken. And then they always had pizza and that bakery
yeah.
area where they would have
Mhm.
breads and tapas style things. And then
Nice.
dessert. You can't forget the dessert. They would always
Right.
have new pastries every single day.
Oh, amazing, amazing. And did you feel like the food at the Emporium was as good, or at least good, compared to the restaurants?
Definitely. I would say that you're trading the experience each night. And sometimes my
Mhm.
husband and I like to just be a little bit
Yeah,
more low key, just go whenever you want, eat whenever you want. So the presentation wouldn't be the same as some of those specialty dining when you order a specific entree, but we never felt like we were really missing out when we would eat at the Emporium Marketplace.
yeah. I'm curious too, because I get that same, like we were talking about at the beginning, very sort of like modern, youngish, chic vibe from Explore Journeys. What was the attire like? What was the environment like? The people? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, the environment was pretty classy. Definitely a lot of people that are outside of our tax bracket, I would say, but it didn't feel stuffy. I think Explorer would say on their website that it's pretty casual, wear whatever you want during the day. At nighttime, in some of the nicer restaurants, you might want to dress up. But I would sometimes feel like, oh, is this dressy enough? And I would see men in nicer type shorts, not track shorts, but just kind of that resort casual, they
Yeah,
say. So the vibe was very relaxed. Like it felt elevated, but it didn't feel stuffy.
awesome. How was the entertainment? Did they have like shows or musicians? What did they do in the evenings or even during the day, like a sea day?
Yeah, so the sea days were great. There was always an action-packed day, and the entertainment, there was always shows every single night. I will say that my husband and I would go to trivia instead. That's just where I like to be, but there was always something for everybody. Explore Journeys, I don't think is the entertainment cruise, right? I don't think it's like some ships have Cirque du Soleil type performances. A
Right.
lot of it was very music based. So they had a Billy Joel cover night where they had the artists
Yeah.
going up there and performing, and they always encourage people to come down and dance. So I would say the entertainment was good. I wouldn't say it was something that drew us to the ship, but not something that we were disappointed with either.
Yeah. And often on those luxury lines, like you're not going to get those giant Broadway reviews. You are going to get like one person who's doing some covers. Maybe you have a couple of dancers or a musician. They might bring a comedian on or something. But yeah, that's generally not the style of those ships. So where did you go?
So we went to a bunch of different Greek islands and Turkey's turquoise coast. I have to read the names so I don't butcher them. But we started in Athens, so that's where the ship took us out. Then we went to Skythos,
Hmm.
Mykonos, Patmos, Crete, Marmaris, which was our favorite. It was a beautiful coastal town in Turkey. Antalya, Paphos, Kusadasi, Lesbos, and finally Istanbul.
Wow. So this was a really intensive cruise.
And I think that's how Explora Journeys spins their offerings. It's wake up every single day in a new destination. And because it's not as big as some of the larger cruises, we would anchor a little bit away from the port, and a lot of the ports were tender ashore. So
Hmm.
that made it so we were able to bop around pretty easily. And
Yeah.
so most days we would tender at 9 and then sail away at like 6 p.m.
Yeah. And you might have been able to go visit some of those smaller islands because of the size of the ship. I don't think we said, do you know how many passengers about there were on the ship?
I was hearing through other people on the ship that it was around 600.
Yeah, so that's a nice small ship. Wow, that's intimate.
Yeah, well, the ship felt large, and I think that's what also makes it so special. I'm like an Explorer Journeys #1 fan, is that it's very large. There's plenty to do, plenty to eat, plenty to see, but they have a lower guest count with that higher price
Mhm.
point so that
Yeah.
it does feel like you have your own private boat.
Yes. Yeah. A lot of open spaces, a lot of
Mhm.
privacy. Privacy if you want it, and also plenty of people to talk to and hang out if you also want that.
Yes, I noticed they did have a lot of events for singles, solo cruisers.
Yeah.
Obviously, I was with my hubby, so I didn't do that, but they made it a very friendly and open environment to meet people. And we met a lot of people on the ship, and I even follow someone on Instagram now post journey. So it was easy to
Yeah.
meet people.
It's always fun. I love meeting people on cruise ships and then connecting with them and being connected with them afterwards. Did you go on any Explora Journeys, like, sponsored excursions?
So when we booked our cruise, we had the option for destination experiences. And in each single port, they had a list of excursions that you could do. Every single one of them was an additional charge. So nothing was like Explore Journeys, come with us here. You would
Yeah.
have to have an additional fee. And then we did do three different excursions. So we went to the sacred sites of Patmos. That was
Mhm.
a tour of some historical religious churches in the island of Patmos, Greece. We also did this cable car journey in Antalya, Turkey. So we went up a mountain and got to see the sights and then went to see another ancient Roman city. I should know the name, but they're all beautiful, but I
Okay.
can't remember their
Yeah.
names. And then the standout was the tour of Ephesus and
Mm,
Kusabasi in Turkey. That was incredible.
yeah. Comparing your other cruise experiences, did you feel like the excursions were, elevated in any way because of the size of the cruise ship or because of just Explore Journeys?
I felt like the excursions were great because they were very organized. We would know exactly where we needed to be and when, and then they would escort us to our private tour guide, private bus, and take us to and from. The tour guides were really knowledgeable, really friendly. It was clear they do it very regularly. And so I felt like I was well taken care of and never was like, where are we going? Where do we need to be? What's happening? I felt like it
Yeah.
was organized and we were taken care of.
Yeah. That's fantastic. Now you mentioned a place that was your favorite, Marmos?
Marmaris, Turkey.
Yeah, tell us
Yes.
why. What was so amazing about it?
So we live in Florida and we see beach and water all the time. So it takes a lot for ocean to wow us. But what we loved about it is that it was this sailing port type city. So in the port, there's all these sailboats. And then on your one side, you have huge mountain range. And on the other side, you have beach and then the glamour and beauty of a historical European city. So
Mhm.
all of the cobblestones and
Yeah.
the beautiful
Yeah.
buildings and that old European feel. So it just had
Mhm.
so much charm to it. And the weather was amazing. It was hot, but not as humid as Florida. And it was just a perfect
Yeah.
day all around.
Wow, that sounds amazing. Before I ask you a couple of questions, I ask everyone, anything else that you want the audience to know about Explore Journeys and your experience?
I would say a lot of the people on my TikTok are like, this is so much money. How could you spend this much money? And everybody's circumstances are different. I just have to say that I never once was on that ship feeling like, "Oh, I don't think I got my money's worth here." I felt like everything from top to bottom was perfect. Another thing I didn't mention, another selling point for us on this ship was their wellness focus.
Mm.
They love
Yeah.
to talk about the ocean state of mind, and a lot of it is about relaxing, but we're really into health and fitness. And it felt like they had a lot of options for people that were into that. So they had the track outside, they had pickleball every day, they offer fitness classes, they had a beautiful gym. While you're eating all of that food and deliciousness,
Mhm.
you're
Yeah.
also being conscious and taking care of your health. Another thing they offer is that beautiful spa area, which is open to anybody on the ship. You don't have to pay to go into it. And that has a sauna, a steam room, another hot tub, like another sanctuary to relax.
I absolutely love a good spa, especially if you've got like a little sauna, a little relaxation room. Yeah, it's amazing. That's really good to hear. That's really good. So, and yeah, like I think that, people have an impression that these trips are, exorbitantly expensive. And the one thing I do like about Explore Journeys is that because it is relatively new, you can get a really good experience without breaking the bank. Does that mean that everyone can just write a check? No, but sometimes you have to save up for these things. But
Mhm.
people probably spend, you know, exponentially more on their weddings, and nobody judges them for that. So you have my
Very
full
true.
support.
Thank you.
So stepping back from this cruise, tell me, how do you define luxury?
I define luxury as stress free. That is the first thing that comes to my mind. So if I'm having a day where I'm grocery shopping and sweaty and doing the chores, that is not luxury. To me, luxury is my food is taken care of, my bed sheets are clean, I don't have a care in the world, everything is sorted, and I can just relax. That to me is luxury.
Yeah, that sounds great. And did Explora Journeys meet that definition for you?
Times a million. I was very stressed about work and life leading up to the trip, and I would be sitting there on that cruise thinking, I haven't thought about work once. I
That's awesome.
felt like the outside world was no longer a thing. I was totally in the bubble, the ocean state of mind. And that's why I'm so passionate about Explore Journeys because it was so good for my soul to truly unwind for a few days.
Oh, I'm so glad to hear that. That's so good to hear. That's amazing. Do you have a bucket list cruise or a dream cruise?
So after we got off that ship, and I might just be biased now, I would be open to trying other ships, but like my reference to the food, ordering it twice, I don't know if I could do another one now. And I sent my husband the 2027 Explora 5 or Explora 4. They have a new fleet coming
Yes.
out, and it's going to go around Japan. And that
Oh,
is, I'm
nice.
already like, I need to start saving my money. End of 2027, Crystal, I'll
Yes.
be there.
I will look forward to having you back on the podcast to hear
Thank you.
all about that experience. Oh, that sounds really great. Um, any other luxurious travel planned? Not cruising.
I don't have anything on the horizon and I need to now. That was our big hurrah for the year, but I'm sure in the future we will start planning.
Yeah, I think that Explora does have one ship that leaves out of Florida if you just wanted to do something quick local, and save on the airfare. It's the benefit of living
Exactly.
in Florida.
It is.
Yeah, awesome. Well, Megan, this has been so much fun. I really appreciate you being on the podcast. Remind me and the audience of what your TikTok handle is if people want to go and see the video of, I can't get the picture of that gorgeous bathroom out of my head. So if anybody else wants to go see the video or just follow you for any other content, how can they find you?
Yes, thanks so much for having me, Crystal. This was really fun. You can follow me at Megan Megan Cssii.
Awesome. And we will definitely have that in the show notes. Thank you again. And to the listeners, thank you for being here. And until next time, I wish you safe and luxurious cruising.